Welcome to a very special episode of Tell Me More About Core, your ultimate gateway into the visionary world of the CODETECH ecosystem. Get ready for an exclusive insight you won't hear anywhere else, and buckle up for an electrifying journey that just might blow your mind about what blockchain technology can truly achieve. Today's extra special because we, the founders of CODETECH, are in the house. Plus, we're taking a bold leap into the future to give you a glimpse of what's coming in 2025. Hosted by the ever-dynamic Daniel and Lars, this is one episode you definitely don't want to miss.
Welcome to a very special edition of Tell Me More About Core. I'm Lars.
And I'm Daniel. Today we have an episode ahead of us that's particularly close to both of our hearts.
Absolutely, Daniel. So after 7 months of intensive podcast work, daily research, and supporting a fantastic community through you, Daniel, today a circle is somewhat closing. We have 3 very special guests with us today.
Yeah, 3 visionaries who have initiated nothing less than a revolution in blockchain technology with core decentralized technologies. Please join us warmly welcoming Ockert, Rusty, and Michael.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
thank you.
everyone. Nice being here and great to join you, Daniel and Lars.
Gentlemen, it's an absolute honor to have you here today. So much has happened since our last meeting in Bucharest 2 years ago. We talked already before. And I can't tell you how excited I am that we have the opportunity to speak directly with you today.
Well, it's a great
Yes, for
pleasure.
sure.
We're looking forward to the meeting, so
What a
or
pleasure.
the recording.
Yeah. Me as the community manager of the DEC community, I had the privilege of being in weekly contact with you guys. But today is, of course, something very special. And I don't know why, but I'm also a bit excited.
Perfect.
Well,
We want to thank you.
we have to say we love Danny's boys.
Yeah, Danny boy is here.
Yes.
And also thank you for your time and for the continuous work on the project. A lot of people don't see this, but we see the progress, and what you're building behind the scenes is insane.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, so before we dive into the details, I would like to briefly explain to our listeners that we have, let's say, very structured and I hope well-prepared episode today. We will talk about the latest developments, receive exciting updates, and also take a look into the future.
Exactly. And we will start directly with a topic that particularly interests our community. I think it's one of the most topics what they want to know. CueSwap and DeFi. One of the most exciting recent developments concerns your swapping platform. Could you give us an update here, especially regarding the latest developments?
Sure. I will start off and say all the software is completed of the swapping platform. The swapping platform has undergone a little rebranding. It's no longer called CueSwap. But we are very happy to announce the new name, which is called Swaptopia. So this is the new name of the platform. So Swaptopia, basically it is the swapping platform, which is like a decentralized exchange, but it has got many other things that's actually behind it. The reason why it hasn't been released just yet is which I will start off, and then I'll let Rastislav go into the features and functions, and let Michael also say a few things about Swaptopia itself. So the reason why we haven't released it just yet is because you require a stable token, which is a common denominator. And this is one of the things that we have been working on. So because we are on XCB and the core blockchain itself, there is nothing actually there that is a stable token or anything of the sort. So we have to develop that also. So currently the smart contracts and everything of this of the stable token has actually been completed. However, we are now going through the regulation and these types of things to actually finalize it and to have a properly regulated, fully compliant stable token. The stable token is not like any other stable token. It is much more powerful and it is much more transparent than any of the others because you will always be able to see the underlying asset. There's not just one stable token that we're bringing in, there is at least two. So I'm going to let Rastislav talk to you a little bit about the Swaptopia features, functions, what makes it so special, and then let Michael tell you a little bit more about the DeFi side of it, and also a little bit about the stable tokens, because I don't want to take his forte, because it is his mastermind and brain behind that side of the economics.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, there are three aspects in the development of the Swaptopia. First, we have the extension, which gives us the access to the swapping platform. The second is the swap platform itself. And third one is the smart contract for a stable token and other tokens. The extension is ready. We are just putting some final design there. And it will be also the connector not only for Swaptopia, but also other DeFis. We are building some kind of basic template which can be deployed for everybody, and it will demonstrate how the people can log in with the extension, how they can connect the wallet and see all the portfolio. Actually, this is something bigger, but we will talk about it later. Is it connected to the Web4, and is it also several other functionalities? But you have already some template with a Svelte kit, when you can also see how is it working, and you have the basic for your apps as well. That will be used in Swaptopia itself, and also this extension can be connected to different apps. Then this is one of the aspects. The second is the pool or swap itself. How the swap platform is working. Basically, you are just creating the pool with one asset and second asset. You can define asset yourselves, yeah, and you can develop any basically asset on core blockchain. Then you can create basically your own token with the Foxer platform, or we will do in later stages also some form or template where you can just define the characteristic of the token and you can deploy it. You probably know something like that in Pump Fund currently in Solana. That will be something similar. Then basically you have two assets, you have pool, you're opening the pool, and you are just earning also the fees on that. But we will also do some kind of non-standard pools, which one asset is more than other ones, and so on, so on. This is the future features in the application. Yeah, and then the last part is the stable tokens. We mentioned it a little, but we have all these smart contracts in place. What we are doing right now is the on-ramp, off-ramp, and also the compliancy. Then you see several parts of the development are outstanding, but the progress is quite good and is it near the finish. Then you will see like a lot of this platform is open source, and you can even develop your own tokens or your own DApp, do the NFTs and many other things.
So Dad, if you can tell us a little bit about the stable tokens.
We can start talk a little bit about, in the DeFi environment, you can't really function without a stable token environment, because ultimately you are working with fiat that is entering the system, and you are working with the product that enters the system, and then you talk about the rewards that needs to be able to be paid to people who are participating in a DeFi environment. So our focus is on the TradeFi environment, where we have relatively short financing of raw materials to factories coming out of the metals industry, specifically in the lines of copper and nickel, and we are also working with silver, and we have also access to chromium, and cobalt will be one of the other products. We are starting off with some products in the copper industry. So what happens is that the product, many people don't understand that ultimately you have to decide when does a product enter the blockchain and how does it enter and how do you hash the data into the blockchain. That is a pretty much manual process in the beginning. So if it starts coming into tokenization of real world assets, so you have certain raw materials that are coming from a particular pool that is available, and it gets into a processing plant. So what is critical is that you need to have access to your client who is investing into such tokenized or let's say asset-backed tokens. And I think maybe better, in Mica, they refer to it as a asset reference token. So you have certain part which is in fiat, which is an asset reference. This is one part of the Mica environment. And the other part is a specific asset that is connected to a token. So ultimately what we do is we will, in the end, the reality is that you will be able to tokenize your real world asset. You would be able to build an entire infrastructure on a network that is built on the core blockchain, and this whole infrastructure trade finance platform becomes a tool to, let's say, a manufacturer who wants to buy or a producer who wants to sell. And this particular product, and the product can be rated as what are the possibilities of it, and it all operates. Ultimately, we are intending to build an entire DAO where the person who has the asset in his own hands is physically the owner of the asset until it gets to the shipping warehouse, which will be at a international port, which will be managed by an international logistics company like a Schnelleker or one of the big warehouses that are managing the products, and where there is a proper, fully tokenized or let's say shipper's bag that is hashed into the blockchain. The full process where you can see the product enters into a processing plant. So if the access is coming from the processing plant, goes into the plant of where it is manufactured, this part is clearly seen, and we are connecting, in this case, the Luna Mesh, where we will have a full tracking system on each one of the parcels. It will have RFID tags, which will be hashed. It will be connected to the vehicle. The vehicle will be able to be tracked. The vehicle offloads the product. The product goes into the plant of where it gets hashed. There you can say, okay, the manufacturing process is 4 days or 3 days. So ultimately, in this time, you realize that your product is now under processing into the final product that comes out on the other end. This product is measured, as it can be clearly seen, goes into a sealed a shipping container or bag, gets from there shipped. So again, we have RFID tag with all the shipper's bag of that particular test, which is lab test, including everything, shipped to the warehouse, goes to a central point where the client can either buy it. Now, it can be pre-contracted, it can be. So ultimately, each and every transaction will have some form of classification of what is the risk that is involved. So you can say, we have a client, we don't have a client, or something like that. In the end, if you buy product that is not pre-sold, in the end, that particular product can go and you can hold the product, because most of these products, in our opinion, should have actually a market value. So the standard market value will be connected, for instance, to a LME price or something like that. If you think that, a particular product that you are invested in should grow more, your risk is you have to store it in the warehouse. The cost of the warehouse would be allocated to your token, and this is where the interesting part comes in. This is where you have to, because when you exit, that's when the swapping platform again is important. So you have your fiat swapped in the beginning, you have in the end when you exit, and the ultimate part is the rewards are taken into core tokens, and core tokens needs to be swapped. And this is actually where the most interesting part comes in. Ultimately, when you have to do this, in the end, to go through the system, you require core tokens. You cannot do this without a core token in hand, because even the stable token will be ultimately swapping through the core token network.
Welcome to the first use case of core token. Imagine how many transactions take place on a daily trade of copper, silver, and all these various other products.
And we are only focusing on materials which are going to factories. We are not operating in the cathode industry or any form of ingot industry, because ultimately this is not our business. Our business is specifically aimed at financing raw material which has a particular value, which is calculatable according to LME, according to percentages of what the concentrate is, whether it's 10%, 20%, 60 or 50%, it is directly related to the value of the core of the LME price.
Also, just to quickly mention about the second stable token, which is very important, is on the one-to-one ratio that you have in the fiat. So how this works is you have a depositing account, which is an M1 account, which is a liquid account, which means a bank cannot take that finance or that money and actually invest it on behalf of the investor. When you deposit money into the bank actually owns the money. But when it stays in an M1 account, it's their liquid account, which means the money can't be moved into a solid investment or held back. So what we do is we place it into an M1 account, which is then actually tokenized and fractionized. We have an automated burning and minting DAO, which is actually controlling it, which is linked to Ping Exchange. And basically what happens is every single debit and credit that takes place, which actually then hashes the balance of the account instantaneously into the smart contract, into the blockchain, showcasing this is the amount of liquidity which is held behind it, and this is the amount of tokens which are in circulation. So you cannot cheat the process, you cannot hold more, the money cannot be used for anything else. It is on a one-to-one basis. This is a real stable token.
And we will connect some features to the stable token. Then we will connect the debit cards. We will connect the other financial products inside that you can easily enter and exit, because it's really necessary that you need to transfer your funds there and back.
And by the way, the reason why we can do this is because we can read and write and receive MT as well as send MT 940 messages, which is Swift messages. We can also do SEPA XML, where we can directly integrate into the banking system without having to change the front, middle, or back office of the bank whatsoever. So any instruction that's actually given in the existing infrastructure, which we've also redeveloped and developed our own Swift and XML as well as MasterCard network, basically what we did is we incorporated all of these functions into this so that it can be seamlessly integrated and cross-chained in between a centralized environment and into a Web4 environment.
Holy shit. I think this is enough for today.
Thank you, guys. Then see you later.
Wow.
So if you're asking what we've been doing in the background, this is one of them.
You have to see it like this. The interesting part is, it is always the big question on when a product enters into the blockchain. And that's exactly where it is. So we intend to put all these raw materials in a very classified import, in a system where you could say, I'm buying this following 10 bags of product. So I'm swapping my stable coin, which I have now, where I've entered into the platform, I swap it into it, and I actually own now this particular product that I have swapped into. And this is the critical part about how it actually works. It works in the system of very few people. So you have to have the documentation ready before you can actually hash it into the blockchain. You can't let the swapping platform do the swap until you haven't hashed everything into the platform. Because ultimately, you swap your stable coin directly for the product that you are actually doing the trade finance for.
Yeah, I like name it stable token because you have
Probably I should say token because you
Yeah,
are quite
that's
right.
guarantees.
Because it is programmable.
It is not a coin.
It's not a coin. You are 100% right, Rusty. So it is the matter of what you read and what you have to say. It is a token because it's programmable all the time.
It's just terminology, but if somebody will understand the whole process, they will see how unique the system is, and they will find out the value of the system. Then we want to introduce that for people. If somebody want to reach to us, they can just find out more.
By the way, welcome to Digital Attribute Management Platform, because that's nothing else than a digital attribute.
Maybe it's also time that I address the COREPASS.
Well, let them ask them questions.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go.
I need to add something. Fun fact, I come from the plating industry, surface coating, precious metal. And there is also a big topic, copper, silver, and metals
Nickel.
like this. I was
Yeah.
yesterday on a big meeting in Germany because I'm there with 50 people in Germany. And there is a big problem in the supply chain about copper. A lot of black market, and it is not traceable from which mine it is there. And you solve this problem with what you actually told
Daniel,
us.
let me tell you the interesting story. So how did we actually manage to get this? We have partners in Africa, which is actually very interesting. They started to challenge the Chinese system, which was they come there, they buy the big rocks, and I wish
The run of mill.
They buy the products from the local miners because most of these products are coming from local community. This particular local community is actually bringing the product. Well, there's the local community brings the product to a central point. Then what they do is they take this product and they just stick it onto a vessel and ship it to China, where they then actually go and crush it into 40 micron or something like that, puts it in bags and ship it back to some form of central warehouse. So that alone is a huge expense on the product itself. So what we do is we crush on the process on the premises or nearby. So what is actually happening is, so the crushing is taking place and it goes into the bag right there nearby where it is happening. So you don't transport a lot of, let's say, non-used product. That's where the big opportunity is coming.
Exactly, this was the topic. China, South Africa, and I already talked tough about it. You can solve this problem.
Well, the only way that you can do this is by Luna Mesh. But we will get to that part a little bit later because there's a project linked to that also, to the stable token itself with Luna Mesh and things like this. But the nice part is these smart contracts are all completed. It's now just all the paperwork, the legal work, the regulation. You have to get several different things. I mean, Mica, it's specifically focused also on the Mica regulation and all the various things, with regulating stable tokens itself. So we're busy going through all the legal structures and everything that needs to be finalized. And of course, this is just lawyers and paperwork and applications and approvals and things like this, which we're going through.
We are actually doing it in Switzerland, as well as our aim is to do it in Europe. I don't want to exactly say what the location is, but it will be very interesting if we tell you where it is.
And it's not Slovakia.
Okay.
All right, Lars, ich würde sagen, I think we need to move forward to this was.
So what you have said in the last minutes, this is really truly impressive. And I think so. Maybe for the listeners, we need to make a reaction on it as well, Daniel. Those lots of tons of informations, but I think especially the integration, as you mentioned, Michael, the blockchain as a platform. So it shows like how well the entire ecosystem infrastructure is, and this is something people need to understand. But speaking of forward-looking technology, this brings us to a topic that electrifies, I think, the entire community and maybe also the entire world.
I think this also.
Lunar Mesh.
Exactly, and Lunar Mesh is definitively an absolute insane game changer. We already tested it the first time in Bucharest, and this was mind-blowing. Can we get a preview of 2025 here? What can you share with us? You already sneak peeked a bit. I think it's your stage.
So I will start off with Lunar Mesh. There are multiple different applications of Lunar Mesh. There's also a lot of ructions going on about Lunar Mesh, and some of the people think they understand, but they have a misperception of it. So let me explain Lunar Mesh in 3 different categories. So there is proprietary hardware. There's also existing hardware that we can use that can incorporate this. So it can participate in it. Everything, as long as it's got a Bluetooth and a Wi-Fi connection and these types of things, it can actually participate in it. But there is also proprietary hardware. And then there is other third-party hardwares that we can also plug in and utilize and take it further. Now, the Lunar Mesh can be a freestanding, standalone intranet that can work in a community, in a closed environment, in a building, whatever, where you can actually run applications inside of the network without the need of internet. So it can be a freestanding, properly functioning network that has got real applications that can actually run inside of it. Of course, you don't want servers in it, so you need to have serverless applications, which is, of course, why we are so focused on serverless applications to actually run it so that it's more on a node basis. So this is one of the use cases. Then you can open up the ports to actually stream internet into it, which, of course, then can extend it anywhere to the rest of the world. It can extend to other networks. So it can be little communities which can be all over, and they can be interconnected far away from each other. One can be in the USA and the other one can be in Japan. And if they have internet, they can actually go through it and connect to these 2 little hubs. And then there is also the third party or the last leg, which is infrastructure. So it can be a last mile reach, which can actually take place for existing ISPs to actually distribute their connectivity. This can be used also in emergency cases. This can be used in transportation, in various things, because basically this is exactly what Michael was saying in the transportation of the precious metals. So all of this data, you don't always have connectivity, and you won't always have, in the immediate rollout of it, you won't always have the Lunar Mesh available. But this is where epidemic routing comes in, where it can actually store the data, and then once it actually goes to a specific place, it will then be able to immediately sync and then hash what needs to be hashed into the blockchain, but run a parallel decentralized storage, which is running next to the blockchain, that's actually cross-referencing and using the blockchain as the source of verification of whether the ledger has been edited or altered or anything. If anything has taken place in that ledger where the data is stored, it will be null and void, and it will then stipulate and flag it and hash that flag into the blockchain. You don't want to hash all of that data the whole time into the blockchain. You don't want to store that data on the blockchain either, because then you're not GDPR compliant. So what you do is you run a parallel storage platform, which can then actually parallel cross-reference to a blockchain environment that has the immutable ledger that can be used as the singular source of trust, which is in any case distributed and decentralized and uncontrolled, where you then also have the decentralized storage, which then has to actually communicate, which is why we have the digital identity, which can be of an individual, an entity, a particular thing, whatever you want. Whereas the digital attribute management platform actually comes in. So there is multiple aspects to the Luna mesh itself that is functioning. And the way that it works is because of the various different frequencies that we can actually work in 4 simultaneous environments, it allows you to stream in these 4 different ranges. So you can go, you can stream the same data in 4 parallel different frequencies, which can be from radio frequencies right up to satellite, because we can even connect satellite into it. We can do all kinds of things. So this is basically how we designed the Luna mesh itself, where it can then actually also, which is one of the use cases that we're currently busy finalizing for Core Token. Because there is decentralized storage, and you should be paid if you are participating or offering your device for storage, for helping and participating in the network. And you'll be paid in what? Core Token. So then there's the swapping platform again, stable token, all kinds of things. This all starts coming together with a circular economy, where the core token's demand is actually being paid out by the use cases to the end users that can then actually go and decide to either sell it, swap it, hodl it, do whatever they want. So, and in every single aspect, you need both assets, core coin and core token, because every hash that takes place, you need core coin. Every transaction that takes place, you need core coin. So every single thing, both of these are creating now the natural demand on the first use cases that we're actually bringing in. The beautiful part about the stable token also, which is what I want to say, which is very close to my heart, which not many people believe, but I am a philanthropist and I believe that connectivity is a human right. And what we are doing is we're uplifting the local communities with the Luna mesh, specifically in the mining areas where they don't have the connectivity. So what we're doing with the mines itself, when we are actually bringing in those products with the stable token, our social responsibility is to actually provide the individuals that are working and the rural areas with the communities living there around it that are actually supporting the mine, is where we actually come in to provide them connectivity with Luna Mesh. And these are certain things that we're actually bringing in where they previously did not have the connectivity, and now they will have connectivity. And basically, we will be releasing applications like Heyo and these types of things, which is then actually in that market, so they can basically call each other. If they want to then actually take it further, that's up to the discretion of the mines itself, that if they want to provide free internet to the communities, or if they're going to sell prepaid services to the community that they pay for certain gigs, and then they can actually immediately open up to the internet and they can have the whole wide world web at their fingertips and available to them, because we will actually segment this. I actually want Michael to discuss, and then we're gonna go really into the technical side of things. I want Michael to discuss about two of the use cases of Luna Mesh, which we can announce to you that we are currently busy doing.
So I can start on saying that we have one of the critical parts is that we are working on the first aspect is in the production areas, we have internet backhaul links, which people are currently paying for. So what
this is in South Africa, by the way.
This is in South Africa and in Namibia. So we are going to also connect now the Namibian part as well. So what is interesting is that these internet backhaul links, we have the towers, and then from the tower we have access points where people can connect to the internet. But what happens is that in the broadcasting range of the Luna Mesh itself, people from within the community who are working on the mine would be able to communicate with their households within a particular kilometer radius, which we will try to cover as much as possible around a particular production area of a mine or where there is processing taking place. So this is not only from our own products, but we have now all of a sudden a very interesting buy-in, and this is the second part to the Luna Mesh, is that the mining companies are extremely interested in getting involved, and not so much about it other than they can communicate with their people for free, and they can actually send messages to them within the network and actually have access to this community on a much more simplistic basis about health issues, about some form of social event or some form of changes in policies or whatever they need to do. So this is a very interesting two sections of it. The community will have so if you are just a normal user, you will participate in an application which you will be able to have access to an internet backhaul link and would be able to, so you buy the connectivity from that. This purchase is happening in the core token, so physically you are actually paying. Again, go to the stable coin part of it in the token environment. You access the platform because ultimately everything is actually recorded in the blockchain. So the moment that you've actually purchased, because we should know that you are the actual owner of that particular device, you need to go through a COREPASS. And the whole system is managed by the individual because of the fact that you have, like in Europe, I don't know so much in Europe whether it is really implemented that you can have a cell phone or a mobile phone without having your identity displayed in the system.
Without having
in
a
South
KYC.
Africa, it is a regulation that you have to have a RICA or a something,
FICA.
I say FICA or something like that. And this particular process we will be running through the COREPASS to protect the network and to protect our presence in the market and stay in a regulated environment where we provide this information. This gives also to the mine the access to the individual who has in fact actually a COREPASS and would be able to verify that the individual who they are communicating with is indeed the individual who has holding the device or has the device issued to this particular person. So this is a whole process of which is becoming a very interesting environment of making communication a not only just a tool of talking and trying to access the Google network or something, but actually becoming a useful tool for multiple other solutions within a supply system environment.
Basically, in short, to sum it up for you, it's hotspots on steroids. Every single tower that they actually deploy for your connectivity, I'll give you an interesting fact. A tower costs about $1 million. So the reason why there's so many vast areas in first world countries, third world countries, whatever country, doesn't matter what range you are in. The ROI is the only thing that they're focused on, which is the ISP that's actually saying, is there enough users for us to actually get a return on the investment of the expenditure that we need to do to put up the infrastructure? In our case, it doesn't cost $1 million.
It's very cheaper. What we're doing is we're building at the moment a hybrid connection which can integrate with any backhaul link, whether it's a Huawei, whether it is an Ericsson, whether it is any other form of backhaul system where there is an internet point receiving internet. We are even now connecting to platforms like Tirana that we are busy integrating. There are air fiber that we are working on at the moment, and there are multiple such solutions which are getting more and more interesting, and we find that ISPs are all of a sudden very keen to talk to us because apart from the fact that they realize that we bring a captured market, we are also bringing huge presence in the market, which makes a tower extremely profitable, and that you could actually put more towers with more access points within a more closer vicinity to be able to reach the volumes in terms of backhaul to internet and to promote the internet usage of systems in specifically countries where you are actually paying prepaid money for internet for calling on the telephone. Now all of a sudden a data call will cost you a fixed price and you can talk as much as you like for the month. And apart from that, if you want to call within the network that you don't use any of your connectivity bandwidth.
Let me tell you how the Luna devices look like, because it's most interesting for the people. They're asking how it look like, how long I can communicate, what is the distance, and also what I can send and receive. This is like the three basic information. Let's start with the hardware. We have three basic models, which we can extend more, but first we are working with the compact one, which you can stick in your phone or your just notebook or some devices, where you can send and receive information, and it can be connected also to the blockchain information, that you have your blockchain node and communicating with that. You are doing with operation with the blockchain node and you are communicating with the Luna. The second model is a little bigger one, but is it on your table or somewhere in home, where you can connect your computer or smart TV or other devices, which will communicate with this device on your table and connect it to the network. And then the biggest model, let's say, is it point of presence, where they can connect the other providers. You can communicate with the satellite link or some other communication or means of communication in this spectrum. Then you have these three models. This point of presence can connect also the other points and can be like establish the mesh connectivity as well as the small ones, but there is different antennas, then distance is different. Then about the distances, with the small ones, we tested it actually also yesterday and some days ago. We tested from 1.5 kilometers up to 10 kilometers, and it's communicating with this range. This interesting is like depends on the antennas and depends on the environment where you are. But we tested like a hybrid environment, which is city, there is a river, Danube River, and also there is like a part of the forest. Then all these three was covered.
Actually, that specific use case, just to also define a little bit, Rastislav was actually here in the office. He was on the rooftop on a very cold day. And I was nice and snug and warm. I finally got to go somewhere again. So I went to the shopping mall, which was Aupark. I was sitting inside the shopping mall in a restaurant where I was actually communicating with Rastislav. We were both connected via Bluetooth to the device. You can also connect via cable. Cable is more secure and more stable, but you can use Bluetooth, so it's no problem. And we were communicating in between each other in real time. And this was a range of, I think it was about 1.6 kilometers. It wasn't 1.5, it was 1.5, 1.6 kilometers roundabout.
More than a mile.
Yeah, it is like just over a mile away. And they were in small, the antennas are about this big. It's omnidirectional. So it means you actually have that range, which you can do.
Device,
yeah,
like
the compact device.
Really
yeah,
small.
It's really small. We will actually in the Chronicle will actually showcase the devices to you. We'll showcase some of the things to you. This is also ready, tested, and we're starting to look at how we're going to deploy it. We have several use cases with that. We can't disclose all the use cases that we have there.
We can disclose one small one.
If you want to, you're welcome to.
It's
Go for it.
It's just in a security environment in a banking solution where there are they don't want to work on the bank network, but they also don't want the network or that the signal can be detected. So we have a very interesting solution that we are currently preparing. It's early days, But if it works, it will be a phenomenal.
What do you mean if it works? It does work.
Oh,
We've already tested it.
But we know that it's working.
Rusty and I were really working hard on testing
Sorry,
that.
so maybe better rephrase it. If it is accepted that, and it meets the, let's say, the requirements of the client, because ultimately nothing works unless the client agrees that it meets the requirements. So what it means is that, if the client accepts the system, it will be very interesting deployment in the security industry, completely off the normal, I would say, spectrum of, we are broadcasting the possibilities that you would be able to communicate for free within the mesh environment. This is completely a different environment. It is completely closed, completely dedicated peer-to-peer, and you can't see the communication.
Then these frequencies are really hard to jam. You can detect them, but the jamming is almost impossible. Like maybe you can in some cases, but is it mesh network? Then is it really hard? Then you can transmit basically any text information, blockchain information, and also the voice communication. These three subjects we tested already, and that is something what we can cover for these long distances. For shorter distances, we have like different ways how to do, for example, video communication. Then this is the other cases. But for these cases, we are focusing for text and blockchain information right now, and then we will expand on the voice messaging.
It is a typical deepened deployment in the sensor environment. This is actually one of the biggest deployment of this is in a sensor environment where you simply just send the sensor message. This is
we have a very interesting use case that we're busy working with, which is in the transport and logistics environment, which is taking all the things from the CAN bus of the vehicle itself, of the truck. And basically it is storing all of that in the Luna mesh. And then what it's doing is it's only hashing the events that go wrong. But what can happen is it can pick up driver behavior, it can pick up tire pressure, it can pick up heat or temperature controls, water levels, all kinds of things, everything that you actually need. So out of an insurance perspective, out of a perspective of the vehicle operation and out of the owner of the truck itself, you actually have all of that data to your availability, which is constantly put into the mesh network and stored in the decentralized deepen environment. So the interesting part about that is that you have full accountability. So if a tire was burst, then they can go and have a look and they can say, well, if the tire burst, was the pressure correct? Was the threading redone?
The heat sensors.
Yeah, the heat sensors, all these types of things. So it takes all of that into accountability, and then it can tell you a real-time, valid, legitimate reason as to why the tire was burst, without someone trying to spin a story and these types of things. They just go by the data.
Maybe you should also mention the carbon. The collection of GHG gases or GHG information, the accountability of that is very interesting because there's multiple companies that are collecting this data and trying to analyze it. But ultimately getting the data physically from the equipment, whether it is, a yellow equipment or whether it is trucking or any form of this greenhouse gases that needs to be collected. And how do you actually collect that information other than by, having a, let's say, recorded blockchain-based real information so that you can calculate, in fact, the reality of the carbon footprint of that particular instrument that is operating, whether it's a truck or whether it's a front-end loader or a bulldozer or whatever.
Even a factory, Dad.
So even in factory, so all the possibilities of connecting, exhaust fumes, and then, of course, also fuel consumption, and specifically, collecting, your burn rate of fuel, your fuel flow, your
electricity
consumption of other, and creating of heat. These are all aspects that can be recorded in the blockchain. And currently we are busy with an interesting use case. We are, also again, early days in this particular product, but it's going to be very interesting product to release and, of course, make this available again from the core blockchain network side of where you can have access to the infrastructure to access this data. Not so much about the accounting of it, but rather so much of providing it. We have an accounting platform, which we will talk a little bit later about. Not too much to say right now, but we have an accounting platform, but it's also interoperable with any other possibilities of where you need the data in a blockchain environment.
Welcome to carbon credit certification and digital product passports.
I guess we.
And offset in the swapping platform.
Yes, again, offset in the swapping platform.
Daniel, I guess we will make of each topic a special episode because Oki always makes already the introduction. Long story short, this is really impressive, especially the integration into, let's say, the services with the mining shows that we are talking more than just blockchain technology. You guys, these are really solutions for real challenges. And this is something we need to overwork and to sum up for the audiences, because I think we want them to understand. So my head is already exploding by overthinking how we can make shorts of it. Michael, you said a wonderful invitation for all people who are open for it. So we need to reach out these people. Since we are on the topic of communication, I would like to talk about another exciting development, if it's okay for you, because we have limited time, and I guess if we won't do it, we can listen to you guys for hours, but your time is limited as well. I would love to step to another development. Daniel, I guess you know TING and Stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
We already tested
I will give
it.
you.
I just need to add something to Luna Mesh for the people to understand. Luna Mesh is something like layer 0. It's over the internet. It connects everything. And thank you all to the sellers from XCB and CTN that we can accumulate for these prices. Yeah, Ting. Let's move forward. Oki, the stage is yours.
Okay,
I don't want to talk too much.
Well, with Ting, I'm going to be very straight. We came into one little hiccup, which was one of the connectors. We looked into it, and in our opinion, even though they say it's a Web3 connector, in our opinion, it's a Web 2. It's centralized. So we have to redevelop that, but that's a little tougher task than what most people think. It's primarily linked to the decentralized signaling. And what that actually means is just to give for the listeners an understanding of what signaling is. So back in the olden days, when you look at the old movies, you used to have the operator, and a British guy would, or whoever, in whichever movie you were watching, they would go to the rotary telephone. They'd pick up the device, and then they would, dial, and then it would say, "Hello, operator, can I speak to Kensington 5, please?" And she would go, "Yes, of course." And then they would showcase how they take the cable from the one side, and they would plug it into the other side. That's signaling. That's connecting to peers. So how Google and how all the other platforms work is that they have the peers that are coming into a centralized server where a room is created so that the IDs can be found and be matched and then put into the room itself. We've decentralized that. So that entire infrastructure doesn't happen. You advertise in the mesh network itself, where it finds the peer, the needle in the haystack in between of the identity, which, of course, core ID, then actually finds the individual and then creates a room in between the different people, because the first room's created by the host, which is the super admin, basically. So they're the creator of the room. They have the control of the room. You can always shift it and things like this, which is connected also to this decentralized signaling. But basically what happens is every node that's actually connected to that particular host of the room actually becomes a supercomputer, where every single node is then parsing and adding computational power towards the processing of the communication, which doesn't require you to have everyone's feeds the whole time. You take the packets and you put it together. So it actually processes everything. So it becomes better with lesser bandwidth usage that you require because everyone is parsing on their own. So you don't have to cross-send it the whole time. So basically, these are the types of things that we've been working on, and we have a bit of a delay with it. I can say it will definitely be released in 2025. We have tested quite a lot. Now, I'm also going to say this because there was a wonderful comment by someone who said, well, why don't you just release it out into the public and let us just play with it and things like this? Well, no, because our reputation is on the line here, and we promised we would deliver decentralized. We'll give you decentralized. Trust me. We don't do it in another way. You know, what is quite funny is to put that infrastructure and things like this out, yes, there will be a testing period. And yes, we will involve the community. We have already tested it once where you guys actually came to a live stream of the CorePass, which was about 2 years ago. Now, you might think that's 2 years that has passed. You have no idea how big this platform is to actually develop. And to find anything in a bug is like finding a needle in a haystack because you don't have central connections. So you have to try and orchestrate these challenges that you had, and every device acts differently. So you have to then take a cross spectrum of so many different devices into calculation of when you are developing this. So whether you're using a mobile phone, which there are thousands of different brands and different types, and some people don't upgrade, aka my father, even though I beg him. And, you know, some people, and you know, operating systems are different. All kinds of things are different. They all work differently. You pick up funny little bugs. I mean, Huawei has one bug and Samsung has another, and then Apple, you know, and then you run into certain problems like, you know, that you need to actually fix. And these are the things that we're doing, and we want to give the best experience when we're actually going into that testing. We have tested quite a lot, which I can say has been successful, but they're not our developers who are, I will tell you, they're OCD. It has to be perfect, which is what I love about them. And they then said, well, we need to redevelop this particular part. So we're refactoring that part now. And this was like recently we discovered it. So this is one of the things, this is why I'm only announcing it right now. And I would rather announce it in a video than what I try and just write a little post about it. So, you know, I'd rather face you where you see me, where I'm telling you this. So it will be postponed to next year. But also we need the swapping platform and the core port prior to being able to release that. And there we're waiting for the regulation to actually complete so that we get our stamps of approval and things like this, because we're also not going to release something that can either shut us down or get us in trouble or get our end users that are holding it into trouble. So, yeah.
Thank you, Oki. I think what you said shows exactly how complex such developments are. And maybe our listeners or part of those who cannot wait, they get more patient now. To be honest, Daniel and me, we can't wait to use it for our first call.
Oh, you and me both, buddy.
But until that, we will use the Alphabet Google platform. It works, by the way, with YouTube, and maybe good for us so we can reach more people and making then that big impact by showing them the first thing live coupled with YouTube. Daniel, I think you're eager to learn more about the next topic.
For sure.
The stable tokens. We heard already something about.
We already heard something about the stable. I think we just maybe you guys can tell us again what's the difference between USD Tether and USDC. What's the special thing on your stable?
Who wants to go? I think let Rusty start, yeah.
Yeah, there is the vast of the difference. Like, as you know, on core blockchain, you have almost instant transaction. Then everything you are doing, you have instant information and verification each 7 second roundabout. Then this is a really fast transfer. You know, for example, Tether or USDC, they are using different networks. They are using Ethereum and some other networks. You have some problem with fees. You have some problems with the transfer, and also you are not really sure if somebody is scamming you or not. There is another problem. Then in our case, we have the fast transfers. We have the legal framework for the stable token. And also we have the KYC with the COREPASS. Then we can just verify if somebody will scam you, because probably no scammer will use the KYC. Then if you are transferring from or to someone, we are sure there is a real person and you will not have any difficulties with legalities and with the transfers. This is very unique features which not so many people recognize. And is it really like free to do for everybody? But you need to have the KYC, or you can transfer to the platform. Depends on you. This is a very unique feature, and it's protecting the sender and the receiver. Yeah. Then there will be no doubt about the money laundering. There will be no doubt about some scamming schemes and several other possibilities how to just steal your funds. Then the fast times is also like the transfers. You can transfer everywhere. And also the stable token can be used in the swapping platform, that you can swap instantly, like I'm telling you, almost instantly in different assets, which is not possible in the other stable tokens or stable coins, as you name it. Then this is also a unique feature that it probably will be that fastest stable token in the world, and also most secure because of the KYC features and some other protection for customers and for senders. This is also very unique.
I would also say, I'd like to add to this out of a technological point of view. The fact that we have MT940, SEPA XML, MasterCard, all of these networks integrated, the adoption for banking and for the white labeling of such a stable token to be adopted as a government-based stable token, this is all possible because it can already integrate directly into the existing infrastructure, whether you're doing an IBAN transaction, an ACH, a UPI, whichever type of transaction. You can instantaneously actually incorporate that and create a stable token with that linked to it, which can then actually be governed, properly managed, properly KYC'd, properly regulated, everything involved with it, and it can seamlessly be incorporated into the existing infrastructure of the banking and the financial world.
Let me tell you, sorry, Michael, that also the Pay2 protocol is ready for the stable token, and we saw some other initiative, for example, Arab Emirates with Dirham. You know that some of the companies taking this position, but also we can develop on any currency. We can integrate with plenty of currency and support the ecosystem of the world.
So what is actually interesting is that the dirham is based on the Tether platform, the stable dirham at this stage. So more interesting part about it is that, in fact, the regulation probably allows us to be able to do also a stable dirham in the core blockchain stable token environment. And this is really critical. You see, the interesting part about it is why are stable tokens having some challenges in, for instance, Europe and so on. Why is Tether not working in Europe anymore? Very simply because it doesn't have the ability to prove that its backing is, in fact, a one-to-one basis. So this is a rule which is coming on why it's called an asset reference token, which is, it doesn't comply within the Mica environment. And these are the challenges that most stable tokens will face in the coming months as Mica is starting to become a more common environment in the digital asset industry. You will also see most likely that in the USA, they are talking already about the regulated environment, which will for sure take the same type of trend of what is happening in Europe, where a stable token will not necessarily only be able to be purchased from an asset which this particular asset may not exactly, represent the face value of the token itself. Because of some of these assets are actually available, you buy the asset at a discounted rate, depending on whether it's a bond or something like that. And these are the challenges that when you really want to have a cash out, that you cannot exactly cash out on because if you have to liquidate the asset that is referenced to the token, then you have a challenge in doing that if the asset's face value is not, a one-to-one basis. So in our opinion, a stable token is directly connected to the currency which is operating it. When a stable token is not directly connected to that, there is an asset behind it, and that asset is clearly defined as this is the asset, and that is the reality of the asset that you are buying. So, which means if you are, for instance, in a trade finance environment, it's also a stable token, but it doesn't mean that it is exactly, equivalent, and that is the information that needs to be revealed to the investor. That's what you buy. You buy a fluctuating price. You're buying. So if a stable token backed against gold is not exactly stable because the price of gold fluctuates all the time. That goes for any form of other asset that you are doing other than that of a fiat currency. That is the long and the short of the reality of a stable token.
Okay. And speaking of regulation, I guess this leads us to a very important topic, regulatory developments. You already said it, Michael. The Mica regulation 2025 will be an important milestone. I guess there are a lot of people who are asking themselves, so therefore we are pointing out this question for you today. How is Core preparing for this?
From our side, we are, focused on mainly regulation. So we have an entire regulatory platform. So we have a RegTech platform where we program all regulation that we are in any jurisdiction where we are operating. The interesting part about it is, and this is the success behind how to digitize real-world assets. With real-world assets comes regulation. There is, the one can't go without the other. And we have to realize that in the way of how we are operating in the future and how we are going to actually access these trillions and trillions of business outside there. And this is to make sure that, if the regulation has any form of compliance, whether it is a product compliance, whether it is the compliance of a fiat or a financial environment, it's all programmable. So, which means you have certain regulation of what is the quality of the product that you need to be able to supply. What is the carbon footprint? What needs to be included in that? What are all these aspects of what needs to be shown into, whether there is GMO product involved when it comes to agricultural products. These things that needs to be certified and needs to be clearly identified in a blockchain environment, that when a client is actually purchasing something, whether it's from farm to fork or whether it is something that you are talking about, a purely requirement when it comes to the manufacturing of, for instance, batteries, has a lot of requirements. And if you look at the Euro 7 release, which is coming now actually really being implemented in the battery manufacturing, the recycling, the cradle to grave part that you need to show in product passports becomes the reality of the tokenization of real-world assets. Absolute product passport all the time will become our future life, specifically in Europe. It's a challenging environment, but once you get used to it, it's not so complicated to do this programming, and our blockchain and our regulatory platforms and our smart contracts are all able to do that, and they are all flexible enough and all able to incorporate a proper product passport which we are giving. And we are currently already working on product passports in the garment manufacturing industry. In Italy, we are currently working on a product passport. In Germany, on a logistics environment. Very interesting use cases that is on our table where we are busy making presentations right now.
I think also to mention our entire infrastructure is built for regulation. Like we said in the beginning and always have said, we're a infrastructure service provider that's actually developing to bring actually the fourth industrial revolution. This is exactly where we are heading, because it is now reaching that point of the digital economy, the digital environment, everything that's popping up. And it's amazing technology which is out there. I'm not saying we're the be-all and end-all. There's really some really cool projects out there, some really cool things which is coming out. Even right now, I will start Michael off, because this is now actually the part where we can also speak about COREPASS and the criticisms. So, but hold on. What I want to say is one of the announcements I'm making right now is COREPASS will become a multi-chain wallet. Right now, one of the things, the new regulation that has come in, just to explain to you, in the last 3 months, we've been busy building this because we got told by our regulatory compliance department that we need to adapt the COREPASS. So I would say in the next, before the end of this year, Christmas present. Hello, everyone. Someone asked when we said Vega will be unbundled, then they said, well, what's the other presents we're getting? Okay, so here's another one for you. You know, like I like the comment of someone saying, you're like a little kid, you know, they're looking for the next gift. But anyway, so what we're doing is we've actually incorporated Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and we're also incorporating Solana, which is into the COREPASS, where you can verify your wallet, because you need to withdraw to a verified wallet that you have proven your ownership to. And you will verify it using the core blockchain. So basically what will happen is you can actually verify your wallets, and you can't transact from it just yet. So in version 2, we're opening it up that you can even send your Bitcoin through COREPASS, and your Ethereum, your Litecoin, your Solana, also your BNB, Binance chain. So this is also one of the things that we're incorporating. So, but the first ones will be all the chains that are incorporated into Ping Exchange. You will be able to verify those wallets. There will be a force update which will be released. This will also implement the 40% officially. So I will, which is the buying price of XCB and CTN only. And the price feed article is changed, that is coming actually from COREPASS, and it's going directly hashed into the blockchain, which is using a weighted average. So there's a longer average that's taking place, and those that are criticizing me that we don't do things in real time, well, there's a reason why you can't do things in real time, because you can't leave it open to the public, because the public will manipulate it and they will abuse it. And this is exactly what we have done. So the criticism, you can give me as much as you like. You go and develop that type of project, and let's see where you come out.
But actually, it's real time, but it's taking in Spectrum the longer time span, yeah? That is considering
it is the standard form of VWAP.
Yeah.
It's a VWAP, so which means it's a weighted average on the trades that took place. So you can't manipulate the price of the core token or the core or XCB with a 25 cents, with a $25 transaction,
And
or a
this is
$5 transaction.
And this
You
is an
can do
industry
this.
standard. So, and then what I want to do is I'd like Michael to address a little bit of the things that we're also hearing about COREPASS, and if you can maybe address those things.
Can I say something before?
Sure.
I would like to mention that also we are not taking any freedom from the people, and they can still work in the free environment as a blockchain, but they have also the possibility to work in the regulated environment if needed. Yeah. Then if they need to transact some fiat transaction, do something with the cards and so on, this is the way how to go, because otherwise you cannot enter the environment because there are some regulation in the place. But we are not taking any freedom from the blockchain, any freedom from the COREPASS, and everybody can just create the wallet and KYC is not required, but it's the option.
Oh, also, it serves to mention, we're also releasing the on-ramp of fiat in Ping Exchange, where you can buy with your debit and credit card in Ping Exchange directly. So this is finally finished. We will also be releasing that so that you can go and buy there where you should buy, in Ping Exchange.
So we come to COREPASS, maybe, first of all, there is this concept that COREPASS belongs to the core project. It's not. It also doesn't belong to ARAX. COREPASS is a use case. That was right from the beginning, similar to Ping Exchange. It's a use case. And the use case has its own ownerships. So maybe the clear thing that we need to understand about COREPASS. COREPASS is a dynamic environment. The cost of running COREPASS is not about, just the systems that we are deploying and how it's operating out of it. It has a consistent development. All these nice things that Ockert is talking about is to build the connectors to be able to bring COREPASS to a profitable business that could actually provide it for an integrated environment for a commercial release. So where will COREPASS for the first time be commercially released? It will be released into a trade finance environment. It will be released in product passports. It will be released in the form of where you are going to have Luna Mesh connectivity systems. It will be released where you will be connecting a particular product to a particular individual. It will manage companies, and Oki can later on expand on what the COREPASS will look like when it is deployed in a corporate environment where each one of these corporates are a DAO on its own. So these are the things, and these connectors, they don't fall from the air. They're getting developed. This is the most important thing, and they cost money to be able to do that. So, and people don't realize that, to keep the systems going, it takes a lot of money. So ultimately, the reality of COREPASS is, as it is right now, it's the digitization of your government documentation. It's an independent organization, and the whole idea of COREPASS is that it should not belong to anybody. In fact, it should belong to a public environment where it is completely managed, where the whole important part is, if I think that we think that we want to sell this to somebody which is any form of governmental or any form of regulated environment, they want to see that it is independent, that it has nothing to do with some manipulation or any form of system. So we are working towards this, and we are working towards getting the platform so independent that the commercial part remains commercial, and that's where the money will come in from COREPASS, and that's when it will finally be operated in an environment. That's why we built the fiat on-ramping platform. That's why we have built all the necessary connectors to it, and to be able to say, right, guys, now you can't just buy in the COREPASS XCB or CTN, and after you have dropped the price to zero in the Ping Exchange, or as close as possible to zero, so that you can manipulate the system ultimately in the end. It's not. This is misusing of the platform. And that's why we have functioned or built something which is directly related to show the independence of COREPASS. COREPASS is an independent platform. It has nothing to do with Core, and it has nothing to do with ARAX.
Also, just to tell you, because of GDPR, CPA, CCPA, SOFIT, FINMA, FINRA, we can go on. The list goes on. All the regulators, all the laws and compliancy that has to be done. That's why it's separate. It can't be part of the rest of the ecosystem or of the rest of ARAX and things like this, because then that entity is in control of it. And you want it to be an independent verificator that can actually say, well, here's an independent source of data. That's why you are in control of your own data. You as an individual. It's only processing this data for you, and you then have the means to actually utilize that data. So it has to be an independent where you can say, well, here is a trusted source. It's like a blockchain. Here is a trusted source of data that can be provided. You want that to be in a public listed company or in some other company? Hell no.
Well, nobody will use it. Ultimately, you will be criticized for being able to control or have access to the data.
Yeah, because
we don't have access to
jurisdictions
the
will take place.
And these are the things that are the challenging issues. Because when you speak to somebody, one of the corporate environments where we are busy looking at it, and this is actually quite an interesting environment, the big question was instantaneously, so who is controlling the data? And it was a big challenge to explain to the board of directors, we don't control the data.
We don't touch it.
We don't
We don't
have
want
access to it. We can't see it. We don't even know what is in the system. And these are the guys who developed it.
So thank you so much for this statement for COREPASS. Daniel, we recorded a few days ago a new, let's say, we made a new recording of COREPASS episode. Version 2, and I guess we need to remake it because there are so many bullet points you said in the last few minutes. Daniel, we need to remake it and then upload it because I guess that will have much more value. So thank you guys for your statement for COREPASS.
And thank you for the keywords.
Pleasure.
You're welcome.
I hope now a lot of people or more people understand what COREPASS is. And you said it right. They manipulate the price, and they are the people who say why the price is low. They manipulate the market. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure you've seen this also like me. And I already done an update last week or 2 weeks ago and told them, I think, I don't know what will happen, but everybody knows them when they write this in the public private chat. But yeah, it is what it is. But I think we will move forward. Thank you for the words and the exciting, really, really exciting developments in the regulatory area. This is something what the most people don't understand. And to be honest, I don't want to do your job. I know how hard it is here in Germany or everywhere. Regulations, this will be a really hot topic. Now let's find a connection to the future of partnerships, which are particularly interesting with you.
Yeah, let's talk about what strategic partnership are planned for 2025. You are allowed to mention. Let's say it that way.
so much alpha today.
I will just start with saying.
I think before that, but what I want to say is there's a lot more going on in the background that we don't disclose to you, and we will not disclose to you. We are an operational company. It's like asking, for Google or for Apple or for any company, any existing company to give you their entire plan. You have to also think logically. We're an operational business. We have infrastructure. We have all kinds of things. We have a huge amount of developers.
Well, we have to also protect our plans, because ultimately, don't forget, people see what other people do, and then
create
do
competition.
The same or create for yourself unnecessary competition. When you release data or information or new, let's say, development in your system,
you have to be ahead.
You must be sure that your product is already developed and that it's because this market is so dynamic that it is really critical to make sure that it's released on the right time and that it has the necessary impact. Because these are the things that we sometimes find in our environment, is that we kind of like a bit ahead of our time. And, sometimes this is a very challenging environment. If I can say, and I will take it back to the 2017s, and I think it was 2017 or 2018, when we made an announcement at Money 2020 in Copenhagen, where we said, if you think that you will be in the blockchain industry and successfully, want to tokenize real-world assets. That at that time, real-world asset tokenization was relatively like a new topic. Nobody really spoke about it. It was so almost like, you were like people were looking in a funny way at you because it's not just, some or other virtual or some or other type of, strange offer in the market. We said that you will never be able to do it without regulation, and you'll never be able to do it without a bank. And we still stick to that information. We still stick to that point, that it will always be a challenging environment, that if you have fiat at on-ramp, you can't do it without a bank. You require a bank. You can't do anything without regulation. It will never be. And this will also be the future of 2025. The survivors in the market will be the people who are working towards compliance, working towards regulation, building assets and building systems and building investable environments, which is completely regulated and which is, and yes, in many times, we are saying that, Europe can regulate itself out of business, but it is not exactly like that. If you do it correctly, it's not so complicated. It means that in the blockchain environment, you are actually able to manage mountains of data in a regulated environment without having it costing you a fortune to be able to do that. This data is easy manageable once it's in the blockchain environment. The data is easily, recorded, getting into a dashboard, getting into reporting, and you can automatically create reports, which would not necessarily be always so easy when you don't do this in a blockchain environment. And the other part is it's trusted, it's traceable, and it is secure.
It also serves to mention one important thing. We're not always in control of when we can release, because we're reliant on regulators, we're reliant on our compliancy, on our rules that we have to follow, on legal frameworks we have to do. If we need to redo paperwork and restructure certain things, we're going to rather do that than wait with a release. It's not about just developing a platform and saying, there you go, we developed it. This is not software development. This is releasing an infrastructure. You have to make sure that every single T is dotted, is crossed, every single I is dotted. There's a hell of a lot more going on in the background that a hell of a lot of people don't actually understand. And this is why I'm making this statement, and this is why I wanted to take this time to also say this. Before you speak, rather speak from experience, don't speak from because you think you know. Because 95% of the time, when you assume, you're making an ass out of you and me.
I just want to say, your question, Lars, about about partnerships. Let's answer the most important partner. Let's answer this question. I think it's critical we come to what we need to say and what we were asked. So here's the answer. The answer is, ARAX is probably our biggest partners that we are operating. The two separate environments are that ARAX are not in the tokenization or the token industry. It's not in the industry of holding crypto or anything. ARAX is a platform that builds software and that finances software that needs to be built for specifically infrastructure environments. And it builds it on the blockchain of Core. It builds it using the COREPASS, it builds it using the Luna mesh, it will build it on the TING platform and the meeting platform, it will build it in the future on some very interesting other platforms. This brings me to, building on accountability. I want to say that we are now in a position that we can say that we are in a very interesting environment that where we would be able, from the ARAX's point of view, to provide an entire accountability platform in any form of data recording, in any form of data management and data strategic systems. Announcement following shortly.
I just want to say this. The real vision of this platform is to build the world's first decentralized, serverless, borderless, peer-to-peer, end-to-end encrypted, uninterceptable, unstoppable accounting platform, but basically a digital SAP for the blockchain.
No, better to say a business intelligence platform. We will not say anything about SAP.
Okay.
We have to say we will give SAP a run for their money.
Yes.
Okay, but we have another headline for this upcoming short. Thanks for your statement. We can understand it by the feeling, because we hear you. We can understand. I think we said it once before. From code to core, so from coding to creating. I think lots of people, they don't know how developers really are and what their challenge. They are just, let's say, they call themselves investors, but Daniel and me, we always decided we don't want to give people a stage who are, let's say, who are not worth it to talk about. From your side, it's totally okay. We have the challenge every day by our small, let's say, business popping up with, we want to share news, we want to tell people more about core, but it's a pity to see that kind of behavior. But maybe we can go on with better topics.
I will simply say I don't pay too much attention to it, and I'm not allowed to pay attention to it because I don't really. For me, in the end, people can say what they want. Ultimately, we know what we've developed. We are clear in where we are. We know that the software that we've done is of the best in the world. It competes with the best in the world. So it's not something that, we need to at least, be ashamed of at all. Yes, maybe we're late, maybe this, maybe that. There are a lot of maybes. But ultimately, in the end, we deliver the platform in the best possible way we can. And ultimately, I can also say that what we deliver is always of the highest and top quality that is in the market. I just want to continue on the partnerships. In terms of the partnerships, what is critical is that we are absolutely open to new partnerships. We are actually talking about our labs environment, about our hub. I think, Rusty, maybe you want to expand a little bit about what we want to do. And, we are going to invite in the 2025 people to bring projects for specifically partnerships. We are looking at third-party people to start development on the blockchain. Of course, we want to try and open up the connectors so that they are able to actually develop products. The first part will be, of course, the development in the DeFi environment and in the TradeFi environment where people, of third parties would be able to use the infrastructure, built on the core blockchain and supplied by ARAX and having the ability. So to be clear, this is our first steps of, where you would be able to have access to smart contract platforms, libraries, which you would be able to build your own platform.
We are opening the ways how the people can connect and interact with the core ecosystem, any of the products. Yeah, I am fully dedicated for that part. The people even contacting me directly about the connectors, how to do the things. Then we are helping them, but we also are bringing like a new core blockchain website where will be much more information how to connect. We are building the core client CLI tool, which will interact with the blockchain and with the Web4, and also these templates and several other code base, which will be very helpful for programming for new people. Then also we will plan in the core labs, which will be developing certain of the application, and also we will utilize our sources and our know-how to give the people the opportunity to develop the application and just source it from the support of us. Then we are really caring about the future project with third parties, and everybody is free to reach us with anything, and we are building for that infrastructure.
We're building it for the community. We're doing the expansion for the community. All this development of core blockchain and things like this, ask yourself the question, who's funding that? All the expansions on this, all these types of things. The three of us.
I need to add something. The most blockchains out there or projects are backed by venture capital. And I know you didn't raise venture capital. And this is insane. 11 years of development, self-funded. And I know you guys work 20 hours a day. This is insane, really. And people out there don't understand how much value this is. I can't.
We don't have another project on the side. This
We are
is
working
it.
between 18 and 20 hours.
I can't say it in words. This is insane. And what you guys has built, I stand by my words. You guys are the next revolution. Really, this is insane. I can't say it in words what you've built.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know how to answer that, actually.
I remember something, okay, you said in, I don't know if it was Salzburg or Bucharest, you said, we're giving you the technology and it's up to you what you make of it.
Exactly.
And these are things, so these are the bullets still in my head. And these are things that people need to understand. Because some people, they are not free. They always need a guideline. They always need someone who tells them what to do. Yes, those are, I don't want to say sheeps, but it's in my head. So I said it already. Maybe we can peep it later. But the point is, people need to understand, because otherwise they will always follow those people who claim to be the wolf and who pretend, let's say, in a bad way. So, but this is our mission. So.
Yeah, I would say I think the passion is exactly what drives us. The passion for bringing this technology, it's not about it's actually about bringing a holistic platform that actually has an impact. But it's not an impact of trying to leave a legacy. It's not trying to be famous, it's not trying to be anything. Actually, all we want to do is we want to bring tech that, for us, we see this is what is needed to operate in this environment. And to make sure that everyone is protected, everyone's okay, everyone can move forward, everyone can do their things, and they're secured. Because I'll tell you straight, even I've been scammed. Rasti's been scammed. Michael's been scammed. In some other time in your life, you have been scammed as an individual, whether it is in crypto or whether it is in some other type of transaction.
Groceries.
Yes.
eBay.
But at the end of the day, it is to actually bring that environment that you actually know this is a trusted environment. This is an environment which is compliant with my jurisdiction. I can utilize it. I know I'm safe in the environment. I know that I'm protected in the environment. And this is what we're trying to build, is putting this together and then being able to connect with each other. Bringing us together as human beings, different cultures, different natures, all kinds of things. Yes, everyone, there's difference of opinions, there's all kinds of things. But the most important is the way that you bring people together is by means of communication, connectivity, interaction, transfers, these types of things. And this is exactly what it is. And that's why we build the technology, so that you have it available to your means, so that you can make something of it yourself if you want.
It brings choices to people. This is what it is.
Opportunity.
So it brings a choice of being able to say what is my, because, ultimately I think in our future, you will need to look after what you have the best way you have, and how are the best way of securing the systems in a decentralized environment. The way of how funds are invested is best controlled by yourself if you can understand what it is and where you invest your funds. I think this is the most critical part of where we are going. If you want to communicate, that you have a secure communication and connectivity platform. And these are the things that I think that gives you the I want to call it the safety feeling. When you say, I feel safe in this environment, this is what we've created. You should feel safe that when you are in the environment of a core platform or of any of the platforms that we have developed or that's developed on the blockchain of Core, as well as in the Luna Mesh and or the COREPASS. That gives you that form of comfort. That's what I believe we have created.
Yeah.
And what drives us.
So maybe we will see some of those phrases you said before in the upcoming commercial to these from New to the Street. So because it fits, to be honest. Otherwise, we will do it. But
I don't know if there is a time. When should we talk about New to the Street? Should we talk now?
We can no. Let them ask their questions.
no, I think that. So, Michael,
feel free.
You're always one step before. So that was the next question.
And before I start,
it's not a good thing to be one step before sometimes.
I guess Daniel wanted to say something before.
I already told the community. The most people don't see this. You guys being in New York, you're actually on a fucking pole position. You've been there a half year before everyone started to talk about Trump, what's happening. New York wants to implement blockchain, or America, and so on. And you guys been there. And okay, I know we already talked about this a half year ago or longer. And then I think, damn, you're always one step or two steps ahead everybody else out there. But now the stage is yours. I don't want
I will simply say that we are fortunate in some stages to have some, let's say, information that comes to us that, we are able to plan ourselves properly. Why did we make this big step with New to the Streets or New to the Street? New to the Street is, as everybody know, it's a platform which are actually focused on promoting software products, company reach via the Bloombergs, via the Nasdaq, via mountains of very strategically placed billboards all over America, Fox News, and there is a number of these aspects which are quite interesting. Now, let's say, how do we actually, monetize this very interesting environment? So when we develop a product, so one has to ask yourself, how do you actually get to market a product which has been developed in a DeFi environment, in a connectivity environment? How do you actually get that reach of the people? There's only one way, and that's through a proper way of media and media presence and media. So you either go through the influencer or you go through the media. The influencer will follow the media. This is in my opinion. Media doesn't follow influencers. Influencers are following the media. That's how I believe it simply works. So because that's where it is first seen, is in the system. So what did we do? We actually partnered with, and this is one of the partnerships we should discuss, is specifically with New to the Street. And where core blockchain solutions will actually be coming onto the network. And I am not the expert in terms of the marketing. This is more Ockert's field. But the strategic alliance that we've signed with them is, so if you've developed a product, we can come to you and say, your particular product, or whether it's a financial instrument, whether it is a trade finance deal, whether it is some form of connectivity, whether it's some form of deployment of hardware, and we have some interesting hardware following our table now who wants to use the Luna Mesh, and you want to take this particular hardware and market it, we take you to New to the Street, together with us, we explain the technology, how it works, and we actually have it displayed. And then we find the influencers to say, well, you see, this is what we've done. Now you can follow the system and you can take it further from there. I don't know.
Think,
okay, you can comment.
I think what is important, look, I'm not the marketer, but sometimes I like to implement certain strategies. I do have a marketing background and design and animation and development and things like this. But what is also an important aspect, what one needs to sit and ponder about. Why hasn't it been released yet or aired yet? Because this is a question that we get the whole time. There is method to the madness, young Padawans. And this is exactly why we're holding back on all the announcements until every duck is in a row that needs to be in the row and where it needs to be positioned, so that when we start making these announcements, because some of these announcements, Ladies and gentlemen, they're not small. They are really serious announcements. And a lot of things have been said by a lot of people because of their assumptions. Assume, please remember, revert back to the previous part that I said. Stop it. Don't assume, because you don't know what's going on. And Michael and I had a very tough trip in New York. That's one thing I can tell you. Firstly, we weren't the three of us, which we always are. And secondly, what I can say is it was a hell of a rigmarole to go and sort out a lot of things that needed to be sorted out, and some really interesting and fantastic meetings that we've had. I'm not going to disclose anything because this is all part of the release process and the announcement process and the things that we're busy with. So I'm not going to be a spoiler, and I'm also not going to get in trouble for making such announcements. But you have to understand that there are certain things which, like I said, we cannot announce until certain things are ready, and we cannot release until certain things are ready. And this is exactly one of those processes. So it's not just about, put up an advert or just go on an interview. This is NASDAQ we're talking about. This is Bloomberg airing. This is Fox News airing. I mean, this is 200 million people you're talking about. This is not a small airing. This is public. This is big. So you got to make sure that every little thing is there when you do this.
I guess our listeners will understand, and also maybe the Derek's out there.
I love my Derek. Derek is a fantastic gentleman.
And to be honest, is there ever been a project or something like this which was featured 24 months or 24 episodes at NASDAQ, Bloomberg, Fox TV, or wherever? I don't know.
I can't say. I'm sure Vince is an interesting guy who we are working with. He's a
really stand-up gentleman. Fantastic.
He's an amazing guy. I think that, he's as excited as us on the project, and we have a lot of things with him going.
I would say we almost speak every day or every second day we speak to him.
We speak quite. So Vince is a really amazing guy. I think what is critical is that he has a very good vision, and the reason why we signed up for such a long period of time is simply because he understands the concept of bringing to the market that what was developed in the real world industry. This is really the reality of where we are going. The impact of what we are doing is actually the reality of the system. So the New to the Streets platform and is specifically aimed at this possibility of creating value for our core clients, which are actually coming to the platform, who's using the ARAX infrastructure. This is specifically why we have built it, so that there is a form of go-to-market. That's the beginning of how do you actually get your instrument or your product into the market. It's a go-to-market strategy that is giving you the kickoff of where you're going from there. That's basically the standard systems. So we don't try to sell something that is not specifically related to what we've developed on the core blockchain using the ARAX infrastructure. This is specifically designed to provide a service to our clients in a blockchain environment, in a system where they will pay us in core tokens. Very simplistic use case.
Any comments from your side, Rasti?
Well, we have quite a lot of plans in front of us, but I'm just looking forward for any new project which is coming in, and we can see the growth of the community, the growth of the projects, and it will make the whole ecosystem stronger, and that we all want and need.
Actually, what I can say is we've been working a lot on the blockchain also. A lot of updates have come, a lot of things are going to come in the blockchain itself also, which we're finalizing and which we will deploy the repos and things like this, which are open source. And we welcome anyone to develop on it. Hell, if you want to fork it. Go by all means. you go and build a project on it. No problem. So, so at the end of the day, we're bringing in so many additional amazing things, which we are pretty excited about ourselves. And, it's not just in the core blockchain, it's in Ping Exchange, it's in, there's a lot of other things that we're bringing in that we're busy doing. There's the NFT platform, there's so many other different platforms that we actually have that we will bring in, which are working here in the background, which we're busy actively developing every single day. And it's really, really sometimes it's a lot of fun, but I can tell you sometimes I don't like what I do.
I don't want to say the same. I always like what I do.
So it's fantastic to see and hear from you how the ecosystem continues to grow. What particularly pleased me or us is how the community is involved, because you said 1 minute before, if you want to fork something, feel free, you can do something. And this is also, let's say, giving invitations for the community to improve things or to adapt first and bring things forward. Community, Daniel.
Yeah, speaking of the community, will be there programs or initiatives for community members, maybe especially regarding tell me more about Core?
We are not live, so take your time.
No, I can only say that I think that it is quite important what we are doing here. I'm concerned that it might be a very long, let's say, video this, and, to get somebody to sit throughout such video might be a challenging thing. I think what is critical is that what we need to realize is that, maybe our communication should be a little bit more, let's say, through the community management environments and the platforms where, we would be able to facilitate this information that we've shared today with the German and with the German-speaking community. I want to just comment one important thing. The German community has always been extremely supportive of us. Yes, we do get a lot of criticism from them sometimes, but ultimately, in the end, I can say that our experience in the German community is really amazing. And there are some amazing people with amazing views on how it should be done, and their support and their belief in us is extremely important to us. And yes, it would be fantastic if we could build the other communities to the same type of level. For us, I would say, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not speaking for my partners here, I'm speaking from my personal point of view. I can say that, my experience of the German community is that they're an upstanding community with upstanding values. And yes, they question when they question. We answer what we can. And more than one time, they are actually coming back with positive comments. This is really for us important. And yes, I think that it is critical that we should have more regular meetings like this, where we share our vision, share our information, because this is probably also where we actually also take, I want to say, a step back and sit down and say, well, you know what, it's almost taking books and say, right, here is where we are, this is what we're doing. And it's also an eye-opener for us as you ask the questions, because all of a sudden we realize that those questions you're asking are the questions that we should actually be answering from the point of view of what we are developing and the direction that we should take from time to time.
I value any community, German, Japanese, and other communities as well, but most important is the people should learn and just have some knowledge to make some impact. Yeah. More you are listening, more you are learning, more you are studying, you make some projects and you make some progress in yourself as well. And this is really value for yourself and for the whole community.
In my humble opinion, I will say the following. I respect every community member, regardless of whether you hate me or whether you don't, and regardless of whether you hate my father or Rastislav. Doesn't matter. What I will say is I don't really particularly tolerate people that have ill intentions, which is sadly some of these people do have. So in the end, sometimes this ruins some things for some people. But what I can say for the community itself, we're building this and we have the booster program, which is something that we will be releasing, where you as a use case, a project, or whatever, can actually apply for the Genesis funding. Part of the Genesis funding is allocated for this, so that it can build other applications and that it can move forward. But prior to us being able to release the booster program, we need to bring more adoption into multiple exchanges, which some of you might say, when the next exchange, when this, when that, and all these types of questions. Guys, it's a hell of a process to incorporate ED448, a new block book, an entire new chain. It's not as simple as you think. Look at Ethereum in the past. It took them 4 years, 4 to 5 years to get somewhere. You are all forgetting that, or you were never even part of that side of things. You only started getting interested in Ethereum when it went over $100. So we were there in the beginning, long before Ethereum was there also. We were already there. So the thing that I can tell you is building such a thing and then, putting that out for the community. Yes, there will be a wonderful platform, which is the lab, which is the core lab, where you can learn, you can build, you can share ideas, you can do things, you can apply for funding, you can do all kinds of things. This is exactly what we built it for and why we have the Genesis block there. Apart from it just being for the funding of these projects, it is also part of putting in other things like an economy, and you need to have supply. So when demand is too high, then you have a fallback of where you can get it, like a type of a Federal Reserve. So these are the types of things what we have those things for, and this is what is for the community. The DAO structure and all the things for the community members to actually participate in is also going to take quite some time, because there is a lot more in the structure of how you set it up and the jurisdiction of where it's established with everything that is involved around it. This takes time for all the legal frameworks. We're already working on this actively for more than a year. Actually, even when the blockchain was released, we're already working on this. So this is not as simple as you think, because the way we want to do it, with all the different voting rights, with even businesses being able to participate, that's where KYB needs to come in and all kinds of things. So there's a lot of things that rely on it for this DAO to actually function exactly the way it has to. And there's method to the madness of what we are actually doing. And to bring it to an end, to specifically address, for tell me more about Core. Yes, this is something that we will be discussing with you, because there are a few things that we actually want to propose to you of how to do certain things from our side, not how you should execute it, but what we'd like to implement into you. And this is something that we would like to have a discussion with you. I'm not going to announce these things publicly just yet. We can announce them once we've come to an agreement, because just now Daniel might say, listen, I'm taking my Danny boys and we're going our own way. Thank you very much. Lars, if you want to deal with them, go ahead.
Even Danny boy is now speechless.
Wow.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
So first, Michael, thank you for your kind work for the German community. We will forward it, and I guess it's a huge effort of Daniel, who's putting
Yes.
all things together in the German community. I'm just trying to help and support him in a way, but he's the guy who's
Always there.
yeah, he's replying every time. I think, Daniel, do you have a twin or something like that? But since you noticed that we started in English as well with the podcast, we are trying our best to, let's say, increase the belief of the international community as well. So we will do our best. So maybe when we will have a follow-up of this call, we can have already some achievements that there won't be so many directs outside. The booster program, Oki, you said, this sounds truly revolutionary. And it also shows so much sustainability and social responsibility, what matters to you. So this is something we want to share.
Yeah, it is. It is an important program, and it's an important aspect towards the development community and the expansion and the adoption of the technology itself. You know, with everything evolving, you know, even Google's new chip that has come out, you know, quantum chip that they're putting out and all kinds of things, and people having scares, you know, of their crypto wallets and stuff like this. You know, it doesn't, you can't promote an Edwards curve or a whatever curve. It's not about promoting that. Actually, what it's about is that you have the protection inside of it to ensure that it is secure. But this is why we need the expansion, which comes from other mindsets, which is not just our own. That you open it up to people to be able to contribute towards a project where they have their own plan and where they can bring something in and it can contribute and be extremely valuable. You know, this is why we want to bring this in, and this is why we want to open it up to the people and allow them to actually participate in that manner.
Okay. Daniel, shall I go on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So to make a short sum up, I think everything you said until yet, this is exactly this approach. No, these things makes Core so special. To make a sum up for the audiences. And speaking to special, I know you mentioned it a couple of minutes or maybe hours, I don't know anymore, before. I would like to talk about a very special, important topic that will affect, from our opinion, because we made already a special episode about it in the German part, about the entire industry, the meaning of ARAX. So because we think that the people, sorry to say, did not get it yet. And yes, it's not easy to understand, but maybe we could just split it up in a way of what's the real integration and what role does ARAX really play within the core ecosystem, and what impact will it have on XCB and CTN. So maybe in a just short explanation, because
I will try to answer it in short as possible.
Thank you.
Again, as I said earlier on, ARAX is probably the primary partner of the core blockchain, COREPASS, and Lunamesh. It's the partner that is actually providing infrastructure networks and infrastructure systems to be able to develop on the core blockchain. So there is the ARAX bar platform, which is called blockchain as a platform. Now, that blockchain as a platform is an ecosystem where all these connectors are integrated into. So ARAX consists of a mountain of connectors. It actually funds the building of this projects that we are doing. So funds that are raised in the ARAX environment is going towards the development of specific connectors, of specific tools to be able to build a platform where people would be able to access the system. So which means ultimately, but you have to also see ARAX. ARAX is not exclusive on the blockchain. it means that core blockchain doesn't belong to ARAX. Core blockchain is an independent platform, completely foundation. The platform is there for anybody to develop on it. The same goes for CorePass. CorePass does not belong to ARAX. CorePass is specifically there to be able to integrate a identifiable product that brings digital attributes to a digital asset in a digital asset management platform, which is the business intelligence platform, which is, again, go back to the blockchain as a platform. So the business intelligence environment is where the data is managed and the data is under control of the client, of where he gets it in the blockchain, where he wants to represent and use these tools for a commercial deployment. This is the main purpose of it. We have to see core blockchain, CorePass, and Luna Mesh as the three independent environments of where ARAX is built, what ARAX is built its platform on. Anybody else can do exactly the same than ARAX. There is no exclusivity to that, and there will never be, because ultimately ARAX will probably, again, also be able to take its platform and integrate from these systems. Now, let's go back to the booster program. If somebody comes with a very unique development in a very unique environment, develops an independent platform, and it makes any sense to integrate it into the ARAX BOP platform or business blockchain as a platform system, it will integrate it there. And that's why it is important to get people with initiative and with vision to build things on the core blockchain, to build the entire ecosystem of a core environment. This is what is important. So for the moment, we are happy to fund anybody who could come to such a solution, and we will do this in the very near future. We will have the programs released on how you would be able to access these funds. These decisions will probably also not be only taken by us. It will be in a voting environment where we will make sure that, we have the ability to approve such systems under a regulated and clear environment, which everybody can see in a blockchain solution, to say, yes, this is a needed platform. This would be fantastic to have that. And of course, this is going to come also with the necessary documentation that needs to be provided before such network will be or platform would be developed. And that's basically it. There is nothing difficult about it. ARAX is a separate environment, and it owns some of the use cases, like Ping Exchange, like all the other platforms that is available. It owns some of the use cases. It will also own some use cases partly, which technically, where we are funding certain part from the ARAX's platform, which makes sense to be able to own partly some of the use cases. Currently, this is our biggest challenge, is to get third parties to develop outright on its own. That's our next big focus for 2025 in developing that.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, this is the most people don't understand. You build the infrastructure you need that ARAX is working out. Without a core blockchain, without Luna Mesh or CorePass, this won't. You can't do this. This is essential.
Exactly. It's an infrastructure which is of different components, but it's an infrastructure service provider. This is exactly what it is.
You can just look at a digital asset management platform. So try to think about somebody in an insurance environment. If you have a particular product that is operating in the field and you have access to the data, and the insurer and the underwriter say, I want to have knowledge about it and what is happening, it is shared in the same business intelligence platform where it says, if you don't switch off this equipment right now because it's overheating, your insurance will be expiring or not covering or whatever. And the underwriter will say, I also want to know about that. So these are the things that the ARAX BOP platform will be providing, such type of infrastructure built on the core blockchain, providing it to use cases in the industry.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I can't believe we sit here and we are one of the first persons who talk about And already in there, this is yeah. I would say the vision you got or developed, this is more than inspiring. And as founders of Core, what excites you personally the most about providing the world with a completely improved technology or technical ecosystem? Because you build a whole decentralized circulating economy.
I don't know what excites me the most. um, I wasn't prepared for that question.
Probably the exciting part is for we see in reality what the people are using.
Yeah.
When we see some videos from the people what they are using from our products, it's really exciting. Yeah.
Okay.
If the people real use something what we develop, is it not only something in the shelf, but the people are using it and they like it.
I would say the thing that's the most exciting for me is the same as what Rastislav says. It's about the evolution that takes place from other people of what they do with it. That excites me. What's the ideas they're going to come up with, and if it works, and if it comes out and it's a fantastic product or something like this, and even I would use it. I mean, this is like the type of thing that I think what excites me is what is the possibilities and what can creative minds actually come up with. That's something that I would say is something that excites me, because I really want people to come up with things where I want to sit back and I want to also say, shit, I didn't think of that. You know, I really want people to come up with things like that. Not that I say that we think of everything, but, you know, because mind you, sometimes we don't. but I would say that's my excitement part. Dad?
My excitement is waking up in the morning and finding the first plan to cover the next challenge.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your reply. One last, but I have to say, very personal question. If you had one wish for the future of Core, what would it be?
Can I go first?
You can go. I will say what I in the end.
I will answer that directly. If I have one wish for Core, I wish the community can find harmony within themselves and start seeing the value that they truly have in their participation. Because the actions is what defines the entire platform, because it's about the community. We're a community-driven project. Community is quite important to us. This is why, not like other projects, you have the availability of me personally sitting there, writing to you, answering questions. When I get time, and I'm really telling you guys, I really try and cut out time. I don't always have, and I can't always read all the messages. Sometimes I leave it for a few days, and then when I get back to the chat, it's like so many messages that I got to go through that I can't go through everything. So that's my only wish, is I wish that they could find harmony, and I wish that the guys that have the ill intentions, or the people that have the ill intentions, or that have no intention of doing anything good in the project, to either change their minds or let the people that are truly trying to build the project and move the project forward and help us push the wagon instead of pulling it, rather leave. That's my wish.
Nice. Thank you, Oki.
From my side, thank you. From my side, I think my wish is to teach the people or the community or the people who want to be involved as much as possible and prepare them for global coverage of the new services what we are building, because we are building something really unique, and if the people will recognize what is it really, they will be really in the first place. they will use everything what they learn and everything what they have in their know-how, they can use it. And is it not small project? Is it probably not recognizable yet so much? But the people have the first touches, and these touches will be much bigger and much bigger during the time. Then learn and give us the feedback.
Knowledge is power. Thank you.
For me, my wish is very short. I just hope that everybody in our community find their own happiness. Because actually, in my opinion, happiness is a choice. When you wake up in the morning, you choose whether you want to be happy or not. So find your own happiness, and the value of the coin, the value of the token, the value of what we're doing, the value of where we're going, it all comes in the happiness of saying, all right, let's try to see how we bring this to the next day and the next month and to reach our visions. Just find your own happiness. That's most important.
Thank you so much for your humble statements. I guess the last one will be in mostly of the upcoming motivation videos on Instagram. Thank you, Michael. Before we come to an end, I want to add something because, okay, you said one question before, what would excites you more, kind of adaptation from the community. Maybe there will be some adaptation soon. So please, you know the word soon, you used it several times. Stay patient, but maybe we will come back to you three, with some, let's say, option, use case, I don't know how to call. And then we will see.
I would be very happy to help you in any way you need. And I'm sure Rastislav, as well as Michael, will also be more than willing to help you. Really, really, honestly, because you guys are doing a smashing job. I just have to give it also my last words, which I want to give to Daniel. Thank you, buddy. I'm happy to be part of the Danny boys because I can tell you what, you do a smashing job. You stand up, you try and help them. I know how frustrating it can be because, ladies and gentlemen, it is hard. It's a hard task to manage all the tempers, the emotions, the let's say the patience. It is a tough task, and what Daniel does is really a fantastic job. And starting the podcast and everything whilst he's still working full time, dude, I take my hat off to you. You're putting in the hours. You're grafting away there, and you're really, really doing a fantastic job at it. And you and Lars both, because this is what I got to give to Lars. Your podcasts are fantastic, and you've started off, and you just started bettering and bettering and bettering, and it's just getting so much better and so much nicer. And you'll see it will become fun once you start implementing your personality into it. That's where Derek was born and all kinds of things. So, with a little bit of wit and a sarcasm and a dust of, a sprinkle of fairy dust, and you're A4 away. So what I can really say is both of you are doing a fantastic job, and I truly thank you for it. And this is why I also say I welcome you with anything that you want to ask me, because you guys are doing this out of your own. And that I commend you for, and that I respect you for, and at the same time, you inspire me for that, for being able, for doing such a thing. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
I think all of us can thank,
Great job,
Was
guys. Amazing.
ready for this answer from you. I'm a bit speechless. But yeah, we do it from our heart, like you told us actually. And we believe this is the next revolution. And we already seen it 2.5 years ago when we met you guys the first time in Bucharest. I know my brain was fucked like that. We talked on the balcony with Lars 2.5 years ago. We need to let the world know what core is, and then this was the
idea was
time
born.
the idea was born, and Tell Me More About Core was born. And
Today we are sitting here.
yeah, yeah. Today we're sitting here with you guys, and this is for us the best moment in our story with Core. And this shows hard work pays off.
But this is actually the whole thing. You see, it doesn't start with an idea, it starts with the first step. That's actually the secret to everything. Take the first step. Doesn't matter how hard it's going to be, doesn't matter whatever, it doesn't matter. Don't look at the challenges. Actually, don't look at problems, make them challenges to solve, and make everything into a positive environment. And this is exactly what you guys have done. You guys took that first step, and here you are today. And a lot of people will say, one day you're going to get this question. So how did you come up with this concept, or how did you start this? Simple, you took a step. That's it.
Well, a journey around the world starts with the first step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have the secret sauce already.
So
Whoa, what an amazing episode or podcast. I think we go now to the outro.
yeah,
Dear listeners, we're coming to an end of this very special episode of Tell Me More About Core. Oki, Rusty, and Michael, we can't thank you enough for these valuable insights and a lot of alpha and your time today. This was so much value. I'm speechless. I didn't expect so much alpha today, really. And to be honest, I understand a lot, but the more I know, the more I can connect the dots, and the better I understand where we will stand in 2025 or 2028, whatever. We are here from the first minute. This is like, everybody knows the video from Da Vinci, buy Bitcoin at $1. 15 years later, or 10 years later, they come back to this video. This guy was a legend. And I don't know what will happen, but to be honest, I think in a few years, a lot of people will come back to this podcast or to this episode. And yeah.
Bravo.
Perfect. Bravo.
absolutely, Daniel. I won't add anything just for our listeners. I think I can speak for both of you, Daniel, of us. This conversation today with you guys was extremely enlightening. And not only for us, but certainly also for the listeners, for the followers. So it shows again what kind of, shall I say, project, what kind of revolutionary project Core really is, and how it's driving digital transformation. So we already made a recording about digital transformation or industrial transformation. We need to make it in English, I think, soon, but step by step. But this is really a moment we won't forget in our lives, and hoping to really creating impact on those who are following us, because they maybe want to have it in another way explained.
Great, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lars.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we hope we got the opportunity to speak with you again soon. And to our community, stay active. The community is the core or the essence of every project out there. And without a core community, the core, think about the best project. I won't say it's nothing, but it is so much stronger. So stay active, learn more about core. Knowledge is power. Rusty already told us to us. Continue to engage in Twitter. Follow us or these guys for also the latest update or updates, and together we can shape the transformation from the analog to the digital financial world with Core and you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your
So-
time. It was a great meeting. Thank you. Interview.
And we want to end our episode like always. Maybe we can share it, that each one says one word. So thanks for listening, and until next time at Tell
Me.
All.
Tell me more about
Okay,
Core.
so let's do that again.
Okay. So thanks for listening, and until the next time at Tell.
Me?
Don't.
Yeah. No, you don't have to say tell me.
Okay.
We won't
We're gonna
cut
try
this
that. He's
out.
gonna say tell. Daniel's gonna say me. I'm gonna say
More.
more about
About.
Core. Or
Okay,
you can
perfect.
say
I will say Core, please.
You will say Core.
Then
Okay.
I
Okay.
know.
So, dear listeners, thanks for listening. Until the next time at Tell.
Me?
more.
About.
Core.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So.
Awesome.
And that's a wrap on another epic dive into the endless possibilities of Core blockchain and, of course, its vibrant ecosystem. Derek might still be trying to keep up, but for the rest of us, the future is wide open. We'll tell you more about Core in the next episode. Until then, stay curious and keep building.